This morning, an investigation is beginning into whether former New York Governor Eliot Spitzer assaulted a woman at a ritzy hotel in New York City. According to sources who've talked to CNN, the woman is claiming that Eliot Spitzer choked her, but let's be clear, Spitzer's spokeswoman denies that completely. Joining us this morning to walk through this, criminal defense attorney and civil rights attorney Midwin Charles. Hello, Midwin Charles.
Good
to see you. Good morning.
Good to see you, too.
All right, so like I said, the spokesperson for the governor denying. She says she was choked. She went to the hospital. No charges have been filed.
Right.
What is sort of standard procedure here moving forward?
Well, standard procedure is the prosecutors, if they are involved, and the police, they are going to be looking at the facts of the case and the extent of her injuries. That usually is what drives an assault charge, and that to me is what this sounds like. Now, third-degree assault in New York usually is defined as the intentional and reckless cause of injury against someone or being criminally negligent with a weapon. It's a minor charge in the sense where it's a misdemeanor. It carries usually a jail time of up to just a year.
Okay.
But that's in the third degree. Now, here's where it gets interesting is if they are charged with second-degree assault. Now, that charge is a little bit different. It's a bit more stiff and carries up to 7 years in jail. And the distinction is whether or not there are serious injury to the victim.
Let me loop back to the victim in a second, but just to be clear, let me read the statement from NYPD. Quote, Manhattan detectives are currently investigating allegations of an assault which occurred yesterday at a Midtown hotel. The victim has indicated that the subject is Eliot Spitzer. Through an ongoing investigation, we are attempting to further establish the identity of the subject and the nature of the incident. So we, according to sources, I think at the hospital here telling CNN, she came to the hospital with self-inflicted cuts to her wrist. He did appear at the hospital as well. And she has already gone home to Russia. So how would that affect the case if she's not here, if charges were to be filed?
Well, I think it would be difficult just from the perspective of how are you going to assess what her injuries are? It's possible that you perhaps could look at the medical records at the time she went into the hospital, but usually prosecutors like to talk to the victim. They like to get a sense of what happened, and they also like to get a sense of what is the relationship between the two people, because that oftentimes will weigh heavily as to the credibility. In other words, if you know someone, there's a likelihood that perhaps something happened or there may have been an impetus for something to occur.
What about, and I should mention he used to work here, Eliot Spitzer at CNN, what about past transgressions? As an elected official, how would that factor into all this?
Well, it may factor into it from the sort of court of public opinion, right? I think you may have seen the cover of today's paper here in New York. You know, he is seen as someone who perhaps is not necessarily of the moral high ground. He was the former governor of New York. In 2008, he resigned, some would say, in disgrace because of a prostitution scandal. But it should have no bearing on this particular case. As you know, everybody is innocent until proven guilty,
right,
and what have you. So one of the things, though, that the prosecutors and the police have to do is work together to ensure, or at least figure out, what happened.
Right.
That really is what
Just
they have to do. Get the facts. Get the facts. Okay.